For those who have grown lithops from seed, the moment a tiny sprout emerges is one they'll never forget. But excitement alone isn't enough to succeed. To germinate healthy seedlings, you need to read the rhythm of the seasons and carefully plan everything, down to a handful of soil. In this video, we'll walk through every step of the sowing process. If you follow these instructions carefully, your chances of successful germination will increase dramatically. In South Korea, the best times to sow lithops seeds are in spring and early fall, specifically from April to May and mid-August to September. However, August often brings daytime temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius, so caution is needed. High heat and humidity in summer can lead to mold. And even if seeds germinate, they may melt from the heat. That's why it's safer to wait until mid to late August, when the temperature cools down to about 25 degrees Celsius and the sunlight soften. In contrast, cold winter temperatures can significantly reduce germination rates, and even if seeds sprout, their growth may be extremely slow. Extreme temperature fluctuations negatively impact both germination and growth, greatly increasing the risk of failure. Once you've chosen the right time to sow, the first thing to check is the condition of the seeds. Lithops seeds are very small and delicate, and freshness is key to successful germination. Even older seeds can sprout well if they've been properly matured and stored, sometimes lasting 2 to 4 years. But poor storage may cause seeds to lose viability in less than a year. All tools, pots, and soil should be sterilized beforehand. Simply pour boiling water over them, soak for 30 seconds or more, then let them cool. The soil must be well-draining and breathable, with adequate space between particles to allow airflow. A common mix is equal parts inorganic and organic soil. For example, mix pumice or perlite with a standard seed starting mix. When squeezed in your hand, the soil should crumble easily and produce minimal dust. Use shallow plastic pots with drainage holes. A depth of less than 8 centimeters is ideal. These are easier to manage in the early stages and help control moisture. Small pots about 5 to 10 centimeters in diameter allow for better airflow and easier observation. If a problem occurs, dividing seeds among multiple pots minimizes the damage. Place a layer of coarse gravel or large pumice at the bottom, then fill with your prepared soil mix. Gently press the surface to level it. Uneven soil can cause water to flow irregularly, leading to seed clumping. I personally cover the surface lightly with akadama, also known as red clay soil. This is an optional step, and whether to use top dressing depends on your environment and preference. Now let's sow the seeds. Lithops seeds are extremely tiny. If buried, they won't receive enough light and won't sprout. So, simply scatter the seeds over the surface of the soil. Be careful not to let the seeds overlap. Use tweezers or a folded piece of paper to gently sprinkle them evenly. After sowing, the seeds need moisture, but pouring water from above can displace them. The safest method is bottom watering. Place the pot in a shallow tray of water. Allow moisture to slowly rise through the drainage holes until the soil surface becomes evenly damp. If you choose to use a spray bottle from the beginning, opt for a fine mist sprayer. Hold it high above and spray gently. Keep in mind that misting is better for maintaining humidity, not for soaking the soil. After watering, you can cover the pot to create a small greenhouse. If you cover the pot with plastic wrap to maintain humidity, you'll need to poke small holes for ventilation. But this method limits airflow significantly and is not recommended. A better option is to control humidity in the room itself, or use a transparent cover that allows for airflow. The ideal germination temperature is around 20 degrees Celsius, with humidity levels near 60%. If room temperature is unstable, you can use a seedling heat mat. If there's not enough light, provide 12 hours of gentle light each day using a plant LED. Lithops seeds require light to germinate. A soft, diffused light source is essential. But be careful. If you leave the covered pot under direct sunlight, the temperature inside can rise rapidly. This can cause mold or even melt the germinated seedlings. It's safest to place the pot in a spot with filtered light, where about 30% of the sunlight is shaded. Now all that's left is patience. Some varieties will sprout in just 5 days, while others may take over 10. Germination begins just like that. About a week after sowing, tiny green dots start to appear on the soil surface. If you've ever grown lithops from seed, you know how quietly exciting this moment can be. But from this point on, careful daily care matters more than waiting. At this early stage, young lithops depend on 3 key things: light, water, and airflow. If even one of these is out of balance, the seedlings can melt, develop fungus, or stretch toward the light and stop growing altogether. Let's begin with humidity control and bottom watering. Right after sowing, bottom watering is the best way to evenly moisten the soil without disturbing the seeds on the surface. How often you do this depends on your environment. In well-ventilated spaces, it may be every 3 days. In others, once a week may be safer. If the soil stays wet for too long, fungus may appear. That's why a 1-week interval is usually the safest starting point indoors. Bottom watering is stable early on, but if the surface dries out, you can lightly mist with a fine spray. Avoid soaking the soil. If you're using a clear lid or plastic cover, do not remove it too soon. Sudden changes in air and humidity can stress the seedlings. On the first day you see sprouts, open the lid slightly, just enough for your fingertip to fit. Ventilate this way twice a day, morning and afternoon. On the second day, open the lid halfway. By the third day, leave it fully open during the day and close it again at night. By the fifth, now let's talk about light. For the first 6 months after germination, indirect light is the safest choice. Place the tray near a window with natural light. If the sun is strong, use a thin curtain or shade cloth that blocks about 30% of the light. At this stage, lithops have not yet developed strong water-storing tissues. Too much sunlight can dry them out quickly. They grow best in soft, filtered brightness. In hot summer weather, sunlight and heat can combine to create a greenhouse effect, which may lead to fungus. Use a small fan or air circulator to gently move the air. If the air becomes stagnant, temperatures can rise quickly. When daytime temperatures start rising above 30 degrees Celsius, only water early in the morning or after sunset using bottom watering. This reduces heat stress and allows the soil to absorb water more safely. Watering requires careful attention. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, check the surface of the soil. If it looks pale and dry, mist lightly or use bottom watering. Airflow is essential during this stage. After 30 days, you can gradually increase the time between waterings. Start with bottom watering every 2 weeks, or adjust to every 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the plant's size and condition. Watering too often may cause root rot. Another issue to watch for is fungus gnat larvae. About 2 to 3 weeks after germination, they may hatch in the soil as roots begin to form. These larvae feed from below and can destroy a seedling before any damage is visible from the surface. Around day 30, start prevention. Dilute an insecticide in water and apply it with bottom watering, twice at 2-week intervals. If gnats appear, respond immediately to prevent loss. As lithops grow, their watering needs change. Watch their size closely and adjust your routine. Eventually, the watering interval will extend to 2 weeks, then 3. As the plants mature, you may only need to water once a month or even once every 2 months. Growing lithops from seed is a slow process, but every part of it carries meaning. One misting, one moment of airflow. These small acts shape the markings of next year's leaves and the flower stalks of the year after that. Your slow and steady care today will become something beautiful tomorrow.